know.
Okay, okay.
takeover.
Watch out, babes! You're gonna cause a traffic accident looking like that.
You're never going to make it home.
Later, man. I'll see you in a minute. You're making a pass at the Lost out near my place by the LMOC. I've left some silenced weapons in my garage for you, so head here first. The plan is to go in when most of them are sleeping. You take out the guards and take the vans. Then they wake up in the morning and all their buddies are dead and they're short their stash. Oh man, it'll be hilarious. Okay, well you might not believe this, or you might, because I'm just so plain adjusted. But I went to a therapist one time, and that lady played the same game as you do. The appointment would start. I'd come in, take a seat on the couch, and she'd sit there. Total silence, like a rock, with glasses and a scribbly little pen. But I was too smart then, and I am too smart now. I'm not falling for it. No, ma'am! What right do you got to sit there and ask me about my mom? With your eyes, or your ears. You're the perverts with those thoughts. A man can love his mother without loving his mother. One day she'll need me, and when she does... All right! End of story, you sick freak. Ah! Breathe. Well, that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you get kicked out of the Air Force. Now hurry up.
When I first saw it, I was on her actual post. So it's not a script. I was on her actual Facebook post. That's why I said like off the post. I forgot to send it to myself. But yes, that is the recording. But they were in the comments. The girl was in the comments talking about it. It was smoked oysters. Yeah, it was on Facebook. And I guess what Kelly said was, pulling all the shit. I guess somebody had took the recording and put it on and put it on. So the backstory that was in the Facebook comment, he's going to jail for murder, like for killing somebody. That's why she said something about whatever she said. He's calling her uh, uh, from jail. He's calling her from jail, and so it is. He never get out right. He getting some time, so he don't really care. He's about to go in jail and put that dick on many men. He gonna be 50 Cent in there. Many men. So all these things really have gagged me because it's really all about a performance. Because even in his conversation with her, he like, when she asked him, were you sucking dick too? Because regardless of what we think as queer people, regardless of what we think as queer people, the same bullshit that we be having in our mind about shit, they be having in their mind too. All that shit about I'm a man. Nah, I'm a man. It's the idea that bottoming is more feminine and for women and more quote unquote gay. And we know that's ridiculous, but we have some weird shit in our community too about shit like that. I done heard Bottom say some of the most weirdest shit.
Was that a kill, was it?
I've heard Bottom say, you're not a real bottom if you do any chopping. And that's trans women and cis men. You're not a real bottom if you getting head from a boy. He not real trade if you sucking your dick.
They all gone? All right. Get the vans and get going, or I'll be waiting in a warehouse under the LS freeway.
He's not real trade if he's jacking your dick off while pounding you. I don't like all that stuff on my stuff. I like just regular. Some salt and pepper, yeah. But so many rules and regulations for it, no reason. What's that song by Rufus Wainwright? Rules and Regulations. I love that song. Have you ever heard that song? I love that video. But that article talks about. Let me go back to it. So I wanted to just show y'all different videos. The videos with the trans girl talking about how they raised on her. Video with her. And then there was a video about just how quickly niggas. Oh, the dude was talking about. Now this one was scripted, but it just was a good point that he was making. So he was playing two characters. It was the same guy, but he was playing two characters in the video. And I never tried smoke oysters. It's good. Smoke oysters. It's good. I love them. I love them, love them, love them, love them. He basically was asking dude, this was a skit, but he was asking dude, why you be so angry and tripping about gay boys? That's more coochie for us. And I always had that question since I was little. I'm like, why y'all be so mad? Like, gay boys literally mean if they gay and not trying to talk to you, why are you so mad? Like, that means less competition for you. So what is the deal? Like, what is the problem? It doesn't make sense. Why would it be threatening? Right. Okay. So, this article talks about straight fathers of gay sons. Some of my colleagues, as well as myself, have written about straight fathers of gay sons and the alienated or failure to relate phenomenon that occurs, perhaps even unconsciously, to fathers who doesn't quite recognize himself in his different sons and might pull back because of that. This creates distance, which can usher in a lifetime of strained relationship that even though they are both male, they are not the same in the straight gay man sense. Straight fathers of gay sons who indulge in gender role enforcement get annoyed, angry, disappointed, disgusted, and enraged at their gay son for not being an extension of their straight selves. They, ex- their, they experience a narcissistic injury that their expectation and assumptions or hope for a straight son did not come to pass. The straight father experiences having a gay son as a certain, like a FU from Mother Nature. They thought that they were going to have the most strongest sperm and have the straightest son because nobody that comes from me could possibly be gay. And so, on a narcissistic level, a narcissistic father will, and we're not talking about a narcissist, we're talking about a narcissistic as an adjective, because everybody loves to claim people to be narcissists. Everybody can have narcissistic behaviors. But a narcissistic father can be enraged by Mother Nature doing this to him. And I almost feel like a slight to Mother Nature because he feels like he has the right to have some kind of, have the son that he wanted, not the one that he got. And of course, with children, there's no returns and exchanges. They think that we are like them, they left their desires, but we actually live our queerness. And so many straight folks are denying their queerness in themselves. It makes total sense because men are always in competition with male approval. gay or straight, and it enrages the straights that gays have found a loophole for male approval. But did they though? Did they? I mean, they just come into the queer community and still chase approval from these, that male approval. Because we'll go to the next, I'll go to the next one and explain that. Because, oh my God, why is it doing this, yo? Let me see if I can push this up here. Oh, perfect. Yes. Because then we'll get to the gay men. This was it started, I think it started where it needed to start, the straight men. But then let's get to the straight women around gay men. And then to get to the gay men too, how they perpetuate that gender role enforcement. Straight women around gay men. Another way that gender role enforcement rage manifests is with straight women and gay men. And they go on to list examples of how there's been many, many lawsuits of cisgender women who are bosses, female bosses, who hate gay men so much that they got the whole gay men, they systematically fired every gay man in the department. They'll say just disrespectful things. Some straight women resent gay men because they feel they have squandered their male privilege.
So pleased that he couldn't get here himself.
Just by choosing to be a gay man. That's powerful. I've heard this, I've heard that many times.
He's very happy, and trust me,
something along that
Trevor
lines.
is a good Trevor, and we all want a good Trevor. I mean, he suffered a lot. He's not the horrific, bloodthirsty maniac that we all imagine he is. Well, he is, but he's got a gentler side. He loves his mother. Anyway, after this, we'll all be rich, and you can get to know him better. A kind man who likes animals and children, and smoking crystal while the sun sets. Okay, so you're going to the lumberyard in Paleto Forest to pick up some grass. Now, it's a whole lot
And they
of
describe
grass,
Ellen
and it's well
DeGeneres
protected, so you gotta
as being
go
notorious for thinking this way, acting as if the only way to get things done is and being exploited is to adopt the behavior of the mean men.
Gun team will be protected.
When straight women get enraged at gay men, it's because they believe in the gender role enforcement and resent that they don't have male privilege to grow up and be aggressive and attain the status and power that they want for themselves, leading to a misandry as a retaliation for misogyny from men in general. Two wrongs don't make a right. Revenge is not justice. Thought that was good. Straight women sometimes like gay men. You know, they use phrases like gay best friend or I love the gays, but they don't respect them. I think that's a lie. They don't respect them. They, in the way that they do straight men, they think when you are gay that you are less of a man. I've seen this so many times. They will say it blatantly or they will say it subtly. You know, I'm talking about regular people. You gay. That's a subtle way of them telling you. They don't think of you as me.
I'm very professional, pal. We're trying to raise money for this venture. We don't have much in the way of assets. It's all about the people, Ron. The investors' capital for human capital. And yours ain't worth very much.
No, sometimes it's conscious. Sometimes it's
mostly going to be stolen.
And I'm saying this, Jay, yes, because Wow. I know many cis women that will use your right pronouns,
Got something to say to you.
respect you, use your right name.
This grass you're taking, it belongs to the boss. From Davis.
Tell them how pretty you are, and they know you're trans.
About the operation they got out there.
You're just a different kind of gay man. You're a gay man that went a little bit further
Yes, he one of them.
with your delusion. And they're not tacky enough to tell you. They're going to use your right pronouns.
Check it out. Venmo's now available for 13 to 17-year-olds.
It's nice to be able to split the bill at a restaurant and pay my friends back. Having my own card lets me feel free.
For real, I use it for just about everything.
Co-host Dr. Frida, and we're talking HIV. Is it possible to get new HIV cases to zero? Yes.
Girl. Confused.
My issue with that, Ren, if we want to be you can't simultaneously say I want to be respected as this gender and then expect to be totally treated. If you want to be totally treated like that gender, there are going to be spaces that you're not able to get in. You can't have it both ways. I don't think you can. I can't be. I don't know. Maybe you can. I haven't figured it out. I don't know. I just find it. If you are a binary person,
Covering with long-range weapons, and two of you going in on the ground. Be careful.
and want to be respected in a binary way. You can't be like, oh, respect me as a man, and tell your lesbian girlfriend, who's been a lesbian all her life, that now that she got with you because you transitioned, she's not a lesbian no more. Totally changing her identity because you changed your identity. I think that's weird. But then you want to be safe and come to the, or safe, or not that you have a problem that you shouldn't want to be safe, but you want to be able to come and be on the prowl at the lesbians bars or the exclusively lesbian party when they say there's no men here. You can't be like, oh, but give me special treatment. 1 minute, treat me like a man, and then treat me like a special man. I don't know, and I feel like that gets kind of weird. Would you rather? I just want to move in a way where they call you the right things and perform allyship, or would you rather they just be outright transphobic? So I don't think I think you can do. I think you can respect my honorifics, my pronouns and things I want to be called without performing allyship. You don't have to perform allyship for me at all. Just don't be around me. That's what I asked you to do. You don't have to be. You don't have to be fake. I don't prefer hate in my face. I want you to be fake. So I think that you can be cordial and respect people without being fake. I can call I'm not gonna be misgendering her. I'm gonna say your right pronouns. I'm gonna say your name, blah blah blah. Even if I don't like you, but I'm not gonna be asking you to go out to eat. I'm not gonna be acting like your best friend. I'm not gonna be acting like I'm down with you. I think a cis woman can respect my name and respect me as a woman in regards to how she acknowledges me without faking like she fucks with me or like she's an ally. Hello, Andrew. Yeah, I think that I don't really see that in, I don't really see it in gay men and trans women relationships. I see them more adhering to the binary. But I see that come up with lesbians who date trans men a lot. Where there is some kind of clash with her still identifying as a lesbian. I've had many conversations with my lesbian friends who date trans men about the trans man having a problem with her still identifying as a lesbian. I've had, and it's been since 2010. This has happened many, many times. Do you feel like it's that same class, kind of clash with gay men and trans men? Um, with gay men and trans men, listen, I'm not only in the ins and outs with all of these people. So I can only go by what I have heard and talked about with trans men and gay men. I can only go by that. So it's not like I did a long study. But based on trans men who I know that date gay men, every time I talk to every time I personally talk to a gay man who dates trans men, it feels like they are doing it as a fetish, like as a gateway into trying vagina. They went from they either trying vagina or a gateway to. It's very objectifying. It doesn't feel like I'm trying to build a relationship with this person. It feels like, oh, this is a curious thing. You look like a man, but vagina still feels good. So you are the compromise. Ooh, I can play around with this fetish. Trans men. Not every time, but many times. And this is just my anecdotal. I'm not speaking for trans men. You got to talk to trans men about their T. But from conversations that I have had with trans men, when I see trans men who are messing around with gay men, for me, and what they say, it is usually due to them coming to grips with this new expansion of horniness that T brings on. And because gay men is a really sexual culture, like the hookup culture in gay men, it's really easy. It's so different than the hookup culture, if there is even a hookup culture. I'm pretty sure it is, but I think it's the hookup culture in the lesbian side of the sexuality that just moves different than the male side of sexuality. It's so easy and it is so direct. There's a lot of less emotional, less. I'm not saying it in the arguments, I'm saying it in that, women are emotional. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying anybody who has been on T or estrogen, we can tell y'all just don't learn. Y'all don't learn how it affects our interaction. I'm telling you, when my testosterone levels are high, it is very easy for me to be emotionally disengaged. When my estrogen levels are high, it is very hard for me to be emotionally disengaged. I care way little about the fluff and da. Okay, I can pick up with a nigga and not give a fuck. When my testosterone is high, hook up, fun, just get a nut off, go on about my business without even thinking nothing of it. When my estrogen is high, I want to cuddle, I want to talk, I want to get my nut, and you spend the night. Oh, please don't go. It's a whole different vibe, and I think people and the intensity. When your testosterone is high, people who have not experienced both wouldn't know. And this may be as human beings, we have different levels. Each individual have different level of testosterone at different times of the day. It could be based on how you worked out or what you ate. There's so many things, but just naturally, your base level of testosterone or estrogen is different across the board for different people. I know me, when I'm horny, like my testosterone is high and I'm horny, I can't do shit. I have to go jack off and nut just to focus. And anybody who has been on T and never has experienced it, like if you were just estrogen driven and then you get on T and you understand that urge to want to fuck and how different it feels when your T is high, like it is a urge. It is not just it's like, who's trying to get this nut off of me? That's just it's like the best way I can describe it is like like when you hungry. When you hungry, that nut before bed for me. Can't sleep without. When you hungry, imagine being hungry and you don't have a refrigerator to go to, or a cabinet to go to, or a pantry to go to. Your pantry is the act. Your pantry is however you meet people, the club that you meet. However you meet people, that's your pantry. So Imagine being hungry. I know when I'm hungry, I can just go in there and get a snack. I can go in there and pick me something to eat. I can da. Imagine that whatever that hunger is outside of your home. Like you gotta figure it out. You gotta have somebody come over. You gotta go to them. Blah blah blah. It's like when you horny, what do you think about? When you hungry, you ain't got nothing to eat in your house. What do you hungry? So you're gonna be thinking commercials gonna be like extra fucking good looking. You be like, damn, like what's going on? Then even people literally tell you when you go grocery shopping, eat before you go. So you're not just grabbing everything. If you're trying to stay on the budget, you go to the grocery store hungry, you're gonna be grabbing.
Oh man, I could smell that grass like 10 minutes ago. That's some good dope. Yeah, I used to smoke when I was in college. Man, that was some far out times. Now I, hit the ice, I take apart a radio, and I masturbate till dawn. Trevor calls it maturity. And I'll get this unloaded. But unless any of you want to get down with Tina, you know?
some cool stuff here for you. Got pretty much everything in here. Yeah, I wasn't that close with Frank when we was coming up, but I knew him a little. Always had respect for the dude. I mean, man, we went our separate ways for real, and now here we are. Keep your eyes open. Look who it is!
Okay. But if we can set up a lab, cook our own Frank, Trevor Phillips Industry is in business for life. Bearing in mind that a meth book's life expectancy is notoriously short, the ice will be a regular income stream. We'll sink the money from the product into expansion into other territories and R&D. We'll get some publicity, build the brand, we'll talk at some conferences, we'll float, and then we'll try and appease the whims of our shareholders until the end of time. How's that sound? Yeah! Let's go!
Espousing to me, you'll be like, damn, like what's going on? Then, even people tell you, you go grocery shopping, eat before you go. So you're not just grabbing every, if you're trying to stay on the budget, you go to the grocery store hungry, you're going to be grabbing every fucking thing. That same concept, people tell dudes all the time, when you go on a date, you want to keep it classy, jack off you with it. So you're just not on a just horny old Ricky Ross out on a date. It's something about testosterone that just takes you to another level. And people don't, because they don't do studies on trans people, y'all don't know this. Because y'all usually have y'all normal cisgender people's level of hormones. And I see this all the time when it comes to emotionality. We all emotional. Social express that emotion. It's different. The people love to say women are emotional. Yeah, women are emotional when it comes to they're gonna cry, they're gonna get emotional.
Take out the meth dealers.
It's emotional too. They just angry. They're able to be violent with their emotions. So instead of tears coming, punches is coming. They are just as emotional. It's just they're allowed to rage. Women are not really allowed to rage. It's not ladylike. It's not seen as classy. Also, for trans men, I imagine never having gotten testosterone must be like sensory overload. I can imagine. I just know me. I know when my libido is high, when I haven't taken an estrogen shot, and biology is like coming back and saying, hey, Mother Nature, you haven't took your mom. That ding ding is getting hard, baby.
No, not that ding ding is getting hard.
You're getting bricked up. You might want to take your mom.
No.
I can tell because I have to, I'll be unfocused. Creatively, literally trying to.
We see the business enterprise as broader than most schools, I think. Yes, money and profits are important, but so are the relationships that you have with stakeholders. So are the issues that you're trying to work on to make society better. Seeing business as a source of innovation, a source of creativity, a source of value is one of the most important things we can do today. And that's the business of government.
Trying Domino's first ever Parmesan stuffed crust.
Look at this beautiful pizza. Oh my gosh.
We got a medium of Parmesan stuffed crust with pineapple, ham, onions, and bacon. Cheese ball. Parmesan cheese crust is so good. Oh my god.
You get the whole thing of cheese inside. Top is also crusted with Parmesan and a bunch of seasonings. It's really tasty.
Next pizza we got was the Parmesan stuffed crust with pepperoni and sausage. Look at that crust. I could honestly just eat the crust, like it's honestly incredible.
Also, you got a Parmesan topping on there.
I love partnering with Domino's because they truly have the best pizza. Their crust is
People have tried the relationship thing out. So of course it's it's not a monolith. There's things come out You can hook up with somebody and turn it into a beautiful love story. So that can happen. But I'm just saying in general. Um, what I have heard is trans men exploring their sexuality, not minding being objectified, and gay men trying something new that they never either experienced or they may have experienced once or twice, but the whole female figure is not attractive to them. They need a trans man who has the masculinity of a man but have the body of have a vagina. Um, they can explore that. Explore that. Do you still enjoy safe sex when you are extremely high? Not in the same way that I do. Not in the same way. The intensity is not the same. Not the intensity of pleasure. It's simply pleasurable, just as intensely pleasure, but it's just different. It's just different. I want more. Just take more. Take more. I want more intimacy along. It feels like there needs to be more of a build up. This to be just as pleasurable. I can enjoy it just as much, but it needs to be more of a whole thing. Whereas when I'm on, when I'm on, the stop it. Maybe I just feel about this.
Right? Facts.
I just want to hump something. I'm way more into getting paid when when my testosterone is high. Way more. But yeah, I didn't want to go down the sexual route, but that's something that I see with lesbians and with the issue of identity coming into play. I don't see when it comes to um, identity and the clash of identity. Things not from here. Just wanted to say that you are so funny the way you describe biology doesn't make me feel dysphoric. Really feel like a safe place. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been trying to be sensitive to how I say stuff, but you can't help people. Everybody is at different levels of their dysphoria. I don't really have, I don't have heavy dysphoric moments anymore. I know for me living in my truth and getting my body to where I want it to be, that I don't want to say it healed or eliminated my dysphoria, but I really have very little things that make me feel dysphoric at this point in my life. I was having a menopause conversation with my cisgender homegirls, just asking questions about menopause and asking questions about fibroids. And in those conversations, I don't get dysphoric. I like learning about my body. So when cisgender girls are talking about stuff, it doesn't make me feel anything. But also I acknowledge I'm trans. Like I'm not cis. I'm not cis with a defect. I'm not that. I acknowledge my transness and I don't feel ashamed about it, and I'm okay with what comes along with that. So I never think of what makes me feel dysphoric. I really just haven't had those feelings in a very long time. sometimes being untucked in certain situations, like I have to be tucked. Not all the time, not like annoyingly, but I can't just be walking down the street with my dick. Girl, what? Like, so you got a skirt on, so you really ain't got it tucked. I have to have my underwear. Even if I'm in like a club.
We're still working on the pilot. They fake, but they feel real. She got the part after I hit that.
Then I have to be, I don't have to be tucked, but I need to have it on where it's just like, that's if that makes me feel. Um, most people like I'm never in the situation that like cisgender people trying to be rude to me, calling me a man. Da, 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 da. Like, like it's very, it's very seldomly I'm in a situation where somebody's intentionally trying to insult me, and it's absolutely worse. Because they're not usually innovative enough. Just calling me a man, I've been called that in such a position, girl. Hey, ooh, I'm a man. It don't, girl, that don't make me feel no kind of way, child.
This is bad. This is
Take
very,
your
very,
girl,
very
I'll take
bad.
your man, I'll take all the motherfuckers.
Trevor, or at the airport.
I'll take your girl, I'll take your man.
Well, anyway, it's not my place to question leadership decisions.
All of that.
Someone
I don't
named
be tripping.
Vagos,
Um,
and the frat boys, and
Where
the
did I
Goths,
put it?
and the O'Neills told them all where their stuff is. If you want to get paid,
yeah,
I'd get
I
over
just
there.
don't be,
Quick. Now I
don't
got
be
to.
feeling any kind of way about it. It doesn't make me feel,
Don't let him kill him.
yeah, it doesn't make me feel anything. Off topic, Diamond, have you seen the UK Supreme Court ruling on the definition of women related only to someone born female? Yes, I've seen it. Um, have you seen how Hungary has criminalized being gay? Recriminalized, not decriminalized, recriminalized being gay in the whole country. So, you know, some of these safe havens, they're starting to lean right. Trinidad buggery laws back in effect. Yeah, they're leaning right. So we are in a right leaning time. Yeah, I think it's quite wild.
Where's the phone?
Your job is to live your lives the way you want to and make something of your life the way that you want to, however you see or define greatness. In not embracing yourself, you're actively saying, I'm signing out of life. I'm going to be whatever character anyone wants me to be. I won't know myself. I won't know what I like. I won't talk about what I dislike. Carry this weird resentment that's like a stone in my chest until it becomes a boulder in my stomach and then weighs down my soul. And I genuinely believe that, like, unexpressed energy that begets resentment also becomes physical ailment. Ultimately, I know that if I somehow embraced myself, I would be living a life that was unsatisfactory. And it would feel like it wasn't worth living. Your job is to live your life the way you want to and make something of your life.
So that inspired some thoughts. Listening to that, it inspired some thoughts. So when I don't know, this might be a spicy conversation. Y'all let me know. And this is just me talking in general. This is not me saying that it is across the board. So, gay men and trans women but in a very distinct way. So I think everybody goes through, as they age, becoming more conservative. And I'm not talking about right-wing conservative, but in how they're like gender presentation. It becomes more conservative. Because many of the flamboyant gay men that I grew up around in my life that were rainbow tops or crop tops and heels, they are now performing their gender in such a quiet, manly way that it has me feeling like, where did that rebellion go? Because you go from being this gay boy who is repressed to now I'm going to have more agency over my body and I'm going to the extreme in this femme presentation. And then over time, I turn into presenting literally just like a cis man. And they will say, well, you can't be flamboyant in your old age. You can, actually. You can, actually. I follow a bunch of old people who are flamboyant as hell. But I think what you're saying is you can't be flamboyant because you lose out on opportunities. You can't be that flamboyant out here in the corporate world in your career. And so a lot of gay men assimilate and conform to being regular cis. Most of the gay men that I know, I've heard some between saying become the man you want to attract. They start living as their daddy. As daddy. And I have a friend and we talked about this. And when we were coming up, he was gay as hell. He was gay as hell, way more gay. I don't want to say he was way more flamboyant. I mean, voguing and doing all the stuff. Now, if you see him just walking down the street, he would just look like a regular man. And I was like, so what is that about? What is that? He was like, Diamond, as you get older, when you're first doing that, it's like you're doing it to shake it up, like it's a rebellion. But as you get older, You literally can affect your livelihood by being that flamboyant. When I was younger in college, I was just going to school. I wasn't in my career. I was in college doing all the stuff that I want to do, and it really not affecting me. But when I get to grown status out of college and I got to go to these people's office, that will not get me the job, or it won't keep me the job. I can't be like that. He was like, so it gets to a point where this is just you now, and you have, and so I asked him. I pushed back and was like, so was that? It's all a performance, but you were saying that back then. You were saying that this is the real me. Is this person you becoming the real you? And he flipped it back on me. He was like, you don't dress how you did when you were younger. And I said, I don't know. I think that's more, for me, that's more about fat phobia. I think if I was skinnier, I would dress very similarly to in the way that I did. Yeah, I don't know if I would. Because even when I go out, I still, if I like when I travel and I go to the club, I'm gonna still be sexy in the way that I was when I was younger. So I don't know. I don't know if that was totally true, but I can't see myself getting more conservative. But I feel like it was more about me getting bigger and more matronly. It was about me getting bigger in a way. Getting bigger and not feeling fully comfortable with being as revealing as I would have been in a smaller body. I think their body type changes too. Yes, I think that's true. Now, this particular guy, no, his body type didn't change. He still has a nice body. But yeah, I think that may happen with some of them, especially if they get big. If they get big, they assimilate societal pressures. Please, everyone, be flamboyant in their own age. It's hard to find. And I'm looking for y'all. I felt that I worked as a consultant, and it's like I'm a different person at the office. Now I have to come out to people actively. Yeah, I think that there is a conservatism starts to happen as you get older, and how you respond to people who are flamboyant gets quite strict too. Because I've seen some gay dudes talk shit about gay boys doing too much, and I remember them when they used to do too much. I'm like, how the tables have turned. People can do too much. Interesting. I thought this was funny.
You said, I'm getting so tired of this woke world. What did you mean by that? We're losing our freedoms. We're giving it away this generation. As Ronald Reagan said, we're just one generation away from losing our freedoms. And I see what's happening. Things have changed. You have a whole new generation of people coming up. They've been taught critical race theory. They've been taught a different version of what American history is all about. And getting this woke stuff in there, You said, I'm getting so tired of this woke world.
You know what's crazy about Caitlyn? This woke stuff is why you are who you are. Like the trans people, queer people laid the foundation for you to be free and comfortable. This rich white man going to a rich white woman. Like we laid the foundation for you to be comfortable and free as you are. And you have the nerve to be talking about woke stuff. It is a gag. It's a gag to me how delusional they can be. Oh, I have something for y'all. Look. Have y'all tried this? This viral Dubai chocolate? It was viral on TikTok. I wanted to try it. I've already tried one, but I didn't know if y'all had tried it.
Nice one, friends. Nice one, huh? TPI. On our way. We are on our way. Oh, thank you, people.
Let's give it a try.
Really great.
So y'all can see what it gives.
Here is what I promised you. A little advance from my earnings. You gotta
So yeah, it's been going viral on TikTok.
the speculation.
And I said, oh, let me
Very soon, all right? Now let's get the hell
show
out
the
of here.
girls what it's giving.
Fire coming through. Thank you. Thank you all very
So
much. Hey, be cool with that
it's
money.
these big
By
chunky
superficial
pieces.
superficial people. Who are you? I'm impotent rage. You can't be impotent rage, because I'm impotent rage. Yes, buddy. I will deal with
It's
you.
kind of melting. I should have froze it because I don't like it melty like this.
My brother. Yo, it's Phil. It's good to meet you finally.
Hey.
Trevor, ain't it?
So it's in these big
Do this or
chunky pieces.
or both.
Whatever you want.
It's like
Got the drugs?
like multiple squares.
Yeah, if you came for what you
And it
ordered.
is chocolate and pistachio.
Can I see?
And
See the money.
Yeah, got it right here. All right. So, Trevor.
it tastes like
There is the money. Hand me the cocaine first.
What?
The cocaine you are selling me.
Excuse me?
Are you selling me cocaine, Mr. Phillips?
it tastes like a gourmet Reese's peanut butter cup, except instead of peanuts, you're using pistachios. That's what it gives. It gives a Reese's cup, but like, oh,
You're under,
I'm tasting
you are under arrest for trespassing. Get away! 46!
the pistachio, which is my favorite nut. Edible ones. I guess that's edible too. Yeah, it tastes like it's very decadent. Yeah, it's very a Reese's peanut butter cup, but with pistachio.
The one and only. Got pretty much everything in here. What can I get you? Hey, do you think of money? Nah, what the hell am I thinking? Keep your eyes open.
Thank you.
Final stretch now. It's a two-horse race with two of you in each horse, the ass and the head. Horse 1 is going for the lawyers at City Hall. Horse 2 is on the business partner in Richmond. Sound good? Get moving. Horse 2, your target is Dima Popov. Did I mention he's paranoid? Well, yeah, he's really paranoid. No one I know employs as many bodyguards as he does, and I know some people who need serious protection, mainly because I'm trying to kill him. You didn't hear that. Look, I've given you pistols with suppressors to get the job done on the QT. All right, you're going in on the quiet and gain access to the estate. Move slowly, take out the guards, and bring down Popov when you get up close.
It's not paranoia. It's being prepared, stupid. Maybe that's why I'm not the asshole in the jail. Huh? Yeah, okay.
If a guard sees you and sounds the alarm, Popov will run, and then you'll disappear. And he won't appear again anywhere we could possibly get to him, okay? So do it slow, do it quiet, do it right. And if you don't, put him down quick when he starts running. The most valuable trait in a hunter. Patience. Remember that. Your target's running. Forget the guards and take him down.
You fucking loser! Oh, crap! How did I die?
Target is down. Get out of there now. Team 1 took out the lawyers.
Time to embrace new adventures. Come on! It's my first ride on a jeepney. Victories in its immigration crackdown. A Washington, D.C. judge has declined to pause deportation flights under the Alien Enemies Act, saying he didn't think he has the power to do so. The Department of Homeland Security now says it reserves the right to conduct removals on Saturday. This, as an appeals court has paused the judge's plans to hold the administration in contempt for allegedly defying his orders in the high-profile deportation dispute. Meanwhile, another judge is placing a short-term restraining order against the deportation of international students. The order temporarily prevents the expulsion of 133 foreign students from at least 5 countries. Earlier, the students filed a lawsuit to get their visas back. And Democratic Senator Chris Van Hollen is back in the U.S. after meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia. That's the Maryland man wrongly deported to El Salvador. President Donald Trump making it clear he's irritated with Van Hollen's efforts.
Look, he's a fake. I know him. I know them all. They're all fake. And they have no interest in that prisoner. That prisoner's record is unbelievably bad.
Well, Van Hollen told reporters on Friday that Abrego Garcia has been moved out of Sica, El Salvador's notoriously brutal prison, but said he remains traumatized by his time there. CNN senior U.S. national correspondent David Culver has more on their meeting and the Trump administration's response.
A photo op that is sparking political spin from all sides. Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen sitting next to Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the Maryland resident whose deportation has become a flashpoint in President Trump's mass deportation efforts and his conflict with the courts.
This case is not just about one man. It's about protecting the constitutional rights of everybody who resides in the United States of America.
Van Hollen met with Abrego Garcia late Thursday in the San Salvador hotel.
I called Jennifer to tell her that I had met with Kilmer. And I told her what he said to me, which was first and foremost that he missed her and his family.
Abrego Garcia's wife described the news of her husband's condition as a prayer answered, adding that she's relieved to know her husband is alive. Deported last month, despite a 2019 U.S. immigration court order prohibiting his return to El Salvador, Abrego Garcia was put on a plane and sent straight to El Salvador's notorious terrorism confinement center, Secor. The administration first called Abrego Garcia's deportation a mistake in court, but now stand by it. In the Oval Office Monday, Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele sat next to President Donald Trump, both leaders defending Abrego Garcia's deportation and imprisonment, with President Trump deferring to others to explain.
That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him, that's not up to us.
We're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country.
On Wednesday, Senator Van Hollen traveled to El Salvador, meeting with the country's vice president. And on Thursday, he tried to access Secot without permission. We visited Secot just days before Van Hollen attempted his visit. Officials took us into Sector 4, where suspected MS-13 and 18th Street gang members are kept. Some convicted, others still awaiting trial. But we were not allowed in other sectors, where the newest deportees, including Abrego Garcia, are believed to be held. Perhaps most surprising is that the first mention of Van Hollen's meeting with Abrego Garcia came from President Bukele. He posted several photos with a seemingly sarcastic caption. Gilmar Abrego Garcia, miraculously risen from the death camps and torture, now sipping margaritas with Senator Van Hollen in the tropical paradise of El Salvador. He then added that Abrego Garcia gets the honor of staying in El Salvador's custody.
As we were talking, one of the government people came over and deposited 2 other glasses on the table with ice and I don't know if it was salt or sugar around the top, but they looked like margaritas. Let me just be very clear. Neither of us touched the drinks that were in front of us.
The photos Bukele selected, intentional, according to a source close with the Salvadoran president. One of them clearly showing Abrego Garcia's arm tattoos, the source saying that is intended to hint at gang affiliations, which have been publicly alleged, but not legally proven. Conservative allies say the meeting is proof that Democrats are siding with a suspected MS-13 gang member, but neither the U.S. nor El Salvador has filed formal charges against Abrego Garcia. His attorneys maintain he has no gang ties, and yet he remains in Salvadoran custody. Now, one thing that stands out to me from Senator Van Hollen's press conference is he says Abrego Garcia, as of several days ago, is no longer being held in Secot, the terrorism confinement center, that instead he was moved to another prison. The reason that's significant is Salvadoran officials have told me repeatedly if you're considered to be a gang member, then you are to go to Secot. The other prisons in El Salvador are meant for lesser criminals. And so it's a bit contradictory if they're going to still continue to consider Abrego Garcia to be a gang member, or even, as President Bukele has suggested, a terrorist, if he's not being held in a facility that's meant for that level of criminal.
Now, as for where voters stand on the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, CNN's chief data analyst Harry Enten breaks down all of the numbers for us.
Let's just talk about the most basic metric you can look at, which is Donald Trump's net approval rating on immigration. In his first term, he was underwater at this point. 12.4 of the public, in fact, disapproved and approved of the job he was doing. But look at where we are now in April of 2025. He's actually slightly above water at plus 1 point. This is very much unlike the economy where he was above water in term 1 and is now below water. On immigration, it's the exact opposite of what's going on. And more than that, the numbers have actually stayed pretty steady since January, since, of course, he came into office. A different way that we can look at this is compare what was going on under Joe Biden with what is going on under Donald Trump. And the way we can do this is on immigration, what track are we on? The right track or the wrong track? Back in December, just 14% of the public said we were on the right track. 62%. My goodness gracious, the vast majority said we were on the wrong track. Look at where we are now in April, though. Look at this. 45% of the country says we're on the right track, compared to just 42% who are on the wrong track. So the plurality now say we're on the right track when it comes to immigration. Very much unlike what we saw under Joe Biden, now under Donald Trump, the plurality say we're on the right track, not on the wrong track when it comes to immigration policy. So this is a great question. Deport all undocumented immigrants. That is voters favoring a government effort to deport all 11 million. Look at where we are now in 2025. 56%, the majority of voters agree with this policy. Supported, just 43% opposed. That is a massive rise from where we were in 2016, when, of course, Donald Trump was running for the Republican nomination the first time around, when it's just 38%. The American public's much more so on Donald Trump's side now than back when he was running the first time around. Now, of course, this is the public at large, right? Let's dive a little bit more into the crosstabs, and this should give you a very interesting look at where the public is, all right? Deport more immigrants here illegally. Well, not much of a surprise, Jake. 90% of Republicans agree with that. But look in the middle of the electorate. Look here. We get 61% of independents agreement. That's a clear majority. And how about among Democrats? even there you get about a third of Democrats agreeing with the idea that we should deport more immigrants who are here illegally. So, yes, there's some specific issue polling which might not necessarily look great for Donald Trump, but when you look specifically at immigration and you dive into this cross-stitch and you look at Democrats, independents, and Republicans, it's not much of a surprise that at this particular point in time, though slight, it is slight, but still the plurality of Americans give Donald Trump the thumbs up on immigration, which is very much unlike what we see with his policies at large and certainly on the economy.
President Trump is ready to recognize Russia's control over Crimea. That's according to a source familiar with the framework of the U.S. peace proposal presented to both sides and to Europeans this week. Ukraine has repeatedly said that conceding territory to Russia is a non-starter. The source also says the proposal would establish a ceasefire along the front lines and that more details need to be worked out in upcoming talks. That's happening after U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said Washington should be ready to walk away from the effort if peace is not achieved soon. But on Friday, President Trump appeared to downplay that statement. Have a listen.
If for some reason one of the two parties makes it very difficult, we're just going to say you're foolish, you're fools, you're horrible people, and we're going to just take a pass. But hopefully we won't have to do that.
A U.S. official told CNN the next few days will be important to determine Washington's next steps. The U.S. and Iran are preparing to hold their second round of nuclear talks in Rome on Saturday. U.S. Middle East envoy Steve Witkoff is expected to be there after representing the U.S. in Oman last weekend. Omani officials will also mediate this round of negotiations. U.S. officials have waffled on setting stricter lines on Iran, with some calling for its entire nuclear program to be fully dismantled, not just the weapons component. This week, Iran doubled down on its right to enrich uranium and accused the Trump administration of sending mixed signals. Let's dig deeper with Benan Ben Talablu, Senior Director of the Iran Program and Senior Fellow with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you so much for being with me. How are you doing?
Pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me.
All good. So let's get into this. What are the main objectives of each side going into these talks?
Make no mistake, President Trump's been quite clear. He wants the Islamic Republic of Iran not to be able to have a nuclear weapon. That's the main U.S. objective here. The question really is how to get there. There's the option of resurrecting what he left, which was the 2015 Obama-era nuclear deal, which was more limited and shorter in time span and less intrusive than he himself had critiqued in 2017 and 2018. And then, of course, there's the full dismantlement or disarmament model that some members of his administration have articulated, occasionally Steve Witkoff, but mostly National Security Advisor Mike Waltz and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. The challenge with that more comprehensive approach is, despite it being more necessary, given the facts on the ground, particularly in 2024 and 2025, with respect to the regime's nuclear program, the Islamic Republic is likely to put up quite a big fight at the negotiating table, because historically, even when they enter talks with a weak hand, they do tend to leave them with a strong hand.
All right. The U.S. is pushing ahead without European involvement. What difference will that make? Will things be as effective?
Well, no doubt the U.S. has the bulk of the sanctions leverage here because it's President Trump's turning back on those maximum pressure economic sanctions. But certainly the year 2025 is a year of decision on Iran's nuclear program because many of America's transatlantic partners, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, hold the keys to the UN sanctions, which if not snapped back or restored by October of this year, would expire. And what President Trump could benefit from is really multilateralizing his maximum pressure policy. And I think despite the U.S. having the economic leverage, it would really behoove itself to build political leverage here as well. Also, regardless of a Republican or a Democrat being at the helm, any time in the past decade or decade and a half, the Iranians and the Americans have had a bilateral channel. The Iranians have gotten the better of the Americans, and President Trump would do well to remember that history.
Experts involved in previous negotiations have recently been quoted saying that Steve Witkoff is out of his depth in trying to secure a deal with Tehran. Why would they think that?
and there's no risk to you.
Well, it's really unclear besides a political motive as to why, but one can only guess because of the background, not coming from a nuclear background or perhaps having more of a business or real estate background. But we don't know, more importantly, the paradigm or the framework the U.S. offered last week in Oman and this week in Rome. And until we really have insight into that paradigm or framework, we have to take, unfortunately, some of the flip-flopping comments from members of the administration at face value. Now, make no mistake, you can flip-flop towards a totally logical endpoint or logical destination. You'll simply make it harder for yourself to get there. And given that this is a tough task or tall order to denuclearize the Islamic Republic and prevent a regime which has sunk this much money and time into this program, no own goals are ideal.
And meanwhile, what role will other nations like Russia and Israel play in making these deals happen? And how have their recent moves influenced what's going on now?
Well, there's a couple of actors, I think, that are worth pointing out that are not America and that are not Iran. One are the Omanis, who have mediated the talks directly and indirectly last week and will do so again this week in Rome. The second, of course, Israel, which just recently it was reported that President Trump told the Israelis to stand down on a potential military operation against Iran's nuclear program. If Trump actually coordinates in terms of messaging and deterrence with the Israelis, he can leverage a potential Israeli hammer to get a much bigger, broader, better deal, one that he potentially himself had said he desired. Then there's, of course, the Russians, who for many years have been Iran's lawyer on the international stage, and really this has been magnified since the 2022 Ukraine invasion by President Putin. So expect the Russians to be coaching the Iranians and to really be in their corner on this one.
Right. And then, if negotiations fail, what next for each side, do you think?
Well, it really depends what we mean by fail. I, for one, think that a bad deal that, sets the U.S. backwards would constitute a failure as well. So this depends a great deal on how you see things politically and from a policy perspective with respect to the Islamic Republic of Iran. But pushing away from the table, some would say that to capitalize on the regime's weakness in Tehran and go for military strikes. Others would say to really ratchet up that sanctions pressure and force the regime either to make a mistake or actually force the regime to be negotiating with itself to have to stop the increasing sanctions pressure.
Okay, well, let's see what happens. For now, I appreciate you joining us, Ben Talablu. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
The US will scale down its military presence in Syria by more than half in the coming months. That's according to the Pentagon, which confirmed CNN's earlier reporting that less than 1,000 US troops will be left there after the move. Officials say US forces have significantly degraded ISIS in Syria, but they'll continue to help allies fight the militant group. President Donald Trump moved to withdraw all US troops from Syria during his first term, but they were redeployed later after pushback from the Pentagon. Students and faculty gathered on Friday to honor victims of the mass shooting at Florida State University. That and more on what investigators are discovering when we come back.
This is the animals of the island. For ceramics, you have limited colors. First, some of them are really traditional colors, 4, 5, maximum 6 colors. And recently, there are some modern pigments. You can use many colors. I always wanted to be an artist inside a little boy. I start from traditional techniques and everything, but as you see, I'm using very contemporary touches on them. I want people, when they look at my work, I want them somehow to smile, enjoy it.
DealDash.com. Online auctions since 2009. This PlayStation 5 sold for only 50 cents. This iPad Pro sold for less than $34. And this Nintendo Switch...
I know what you're thinking. You're thinking it'd be easier to take an old school bus, paint it, bar the windows, and make it smell like blood, bowels, and your brother's high school tube sock. Sure, we could do that, but it costs money, and this is costing us, it's costing Rishkovsky enough already. So you're getting the transport, and you're not second-guessing us again.
Do you have a box of videotapes, film reels, or photos that are degrading? Legacy Box professionally converts them to DVDs, thumb drive, or the cloud. Legacy Box is simple and safe, with over 1 million satisfied customers. Visit legacybox.com today to get our $9 offer.
On Friday, Florida State University held a vigil to honor the victims of Thursday's mass shooting.
To be any connection at all between the shooter and any of the victims. Officials in Tallahassee releasing more information about the shooting at Florida State University that killed 2 and injured 6. According to a law enforcement source, the suspected gunman, 20-year-old Phoenix Eichner, suffered from some emotional dysregulation and was prescribed medication. During interviews with family members, investigators were told he had stopped taking some of his prescribed medication. The law enforcement official also says investigators are looking at the possibility of a connection between the shooting and a protest scheduled for Thursday afternoon by the university's Tallahassee Students for a Democratic Society, a student group that the suspect was reportedly critical of in the past. But law enforcement is still in the early stages of the investigation and has not said what motivated the suspect. One FSU student told CNN he knew the suspect from an extracurricular political club.
He had continually made enough people uncomfortable where, certain people had stopped coming. And that's kind of when we reached the breaking point with Phoenix, and we had asked him to leave. It's been a couple of years now. I can't give the exact quotes. He, talked about the ravages of multiculturalism and communism and how it's ruining America.
Investigators revealing Thursday that he's the son of Jessica Eichner, a longtime Leon County Sheriff's deputy. We're now finding out more about his family background. CNN has also learned from court documents that Eichner had a tumultuous childhood, with his parents spending years battling over custody issues. When he was 10 years old, his biological mother, Anne-Marie Erickson, flew him from Florida to Norway, violating a custody agreement, a judge ruled. She had told her son she was taking him to Disney World, according to a court document filed by his father. While the son was in Norway, his father claimed in a court filing his mother didn't buy him a toothbrush, and he went 103 days without brushing his teeth. And in 2019, the suspect's father filed a petition to change his son's name from Christian Erickson to Phoenix Eichner. The suspect testified in support of the change, and a judge approved it over the objection of his biological mother. All victims that were transported to the hospital are expected to survive their injuries.
We do feel that Paul will make a full recovery.
The suspect is also still in the hospital.
He did receive significant injuries in this event. Once he is released from that facility, he'll be taken to a local detention facility where he will face the charges up to and including first-degree murder.
On Friday night, I was at a vigil outside of FSU's football stadium. There was thousands of people there. It really felt like the entire student body of FSU showed up, many of them with tears in their eyes. Behind me, one of the several memorials here on campus, but this one is significant. It's in the heart of campus. This is Legacy Walk, and we've seen many students here come and go and reflect on Thursday's tragedy, some of them praying with the start of Easter weekend. Nick Valencia, CNN, Tallahassee, Florida.
The Colombian government declared a nationwide health emergency on Thursday as cases of yellow fever there continue to rise. Since September, there have been more than 70 recorded cases, and at least 34 people have died from the illness, according to the health ministry. Colombia's president is deploying medical teams to affected areas in an effort to have the entire population vaccinated within the next 2 months. He's also confirmed an economic emergency will be declared as a result of the growing outbreak. Meanwhile, in the U.S., measles cases have now been reported in 25 states. According to a CNN tally, the national total has surpassed 800 confirmed cases this year. Texas alone has seen nearly 600 cases since the outbreak started in January. More states are expected to update their estimates in the weeks ahead as the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention suspect a large number of cases have not been officially reported. Wow, get ready to fire up those lightsabers. Ahead, a new Star Wars movie is in the works with an all-new cast to carry on the legacy of Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. Good news ahead.
Bring the transport to the junkyard outside Sandy Shores. One of my people will look after it till we go in.
Nice. We'll hold on to this for you.
Oh, at least I wasn't last. We did it, Joe. We did it. Girl, better get the fuck from around me. I know that much.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to say yes or no. Okay. Okay. I couldn't say yes or no. Never mind.
So we're good to go. I think. You've done great. And this won't be a problem. No one is going to want to admit that anything happened here. According to my sources, well, Mr. Percival won't be successfully bidding on any government contracts if he can't stop himself from being robbed. You'll be fine. Just going to require a little bit of finesse. 2 teams. Chopper crew, ground crew. All of you will be flying in together. Ground crew is going to jump into the labs, set off the EMP, make their way toward the information we're after while the power is down. Chopper crew holds position in the air, deals with incoming security teams. Once the ground crew has what we're after, you coordinate an evac and meet my contact with the file. Are we clear? So remember, if we never meet again, we never met at all. I love you all, which is why it's best we pretend that nothing happened. And if it did happen, it wasn't me, and it wasn't me because I was never here. Stay strong. I love you all. Love ya. And that's how we don't get caught doing naughty things.
The Diamond Casino and Resort is your discreet hideaway in the center of Los Santos.
Oh well, I'll take it. It's meh. Get away. Alright, I'm going to bed. Because I'm tired. Y'all have a great night. And I will see y'all later. Have a good weekend. Happy Easter, Passover, whatever you celebrate. I don't know. But see y'all. Enjoy y'all weekend, holiday. And I will see y'all later. Boy. When I mean bye, I mean see you later. Not bye, for real, for real. See you later. Y'all have fun. Be safe. Whatever y'all plan on doing. If you're gonna run the street, I may run the streets. What I'm telling y'all, be safe. I may run the streets. Yeah. I will see y'all after the weekend. Have fun and be safe. Good night.